everyone and welcome back to the Colour Cave where we like to play with art stuff. My name is Jem and as you can see today is time for our Artful unboxing. Artful is a quarterly subscription box available and it stems from here in the UK, and this is the box is a year old. This is now the 5th box. I have been forewarned about this and I knew the time was going to come. Without any spoilers, I was told that I may not enjoy this box, which is leading me to think that it's probably markers. As always, I will still give an unbiased review. Even if the box isn't my cup of tea, I still look at all the items that come in the box objectively and give pros and cons for each. So let's get stuck in and find out what our theme is and see whether or not I am correct. Alright, so the idea behind this box is it gives you supplies and a magazine that's quite thick and it's full of inspiration and sort of art community stuff, as well as lots of projects that you can do, and that's supposed to see you through the full quarter until the next box arrives. In addition to that, you do get sent tutorials via your email, so you're getting projects drip fed to you over the quarter as well. They've given us some of their greetings cards and they do stick these in periodically. It's something I'm not really bothered about either way. It's a nice little extra, and I've actually found myself using them in a pinch if I've forgotten somebody's birthday. So I'm quite grateful for these, but they're really nice quality as well, and there's 4 there with envelopes to fit them too, which is really nice. It tells you a little bit about the paper on the back here. Slightly coated 280 GSM board, suitable for wet and dry media. I have used watercolour on them and it works great, so I can attest to that. At the front of the magazine says let's learn about calligraphy and other stuff. If there's 2 things that I really don't enjoy in the sort of artisphere, in the arty thing that we do, I hate lettering and I am not the biggest fan of markers, so this box is going to be delightful for me. Okay, so we're talking about calligraphy, but we'll come to the magazine later. Let's have a look at the supplies first. And the first thing that we've got here is our drawing surface, and it is Tombow Bristol paper. And it says, you know, it shows you here lettering, illustration, sketching. 25 sheets of 250 GSM paper, which is absolutely delightful. I imagine it will be smooth paper if it's designed by Tombow. Let's see, rather not have to read it in German. English. Smooth paper, bright white, high opacity, acid free, which means it won't yellow over time. Ideally suited for colour gradients and layering. Suitable for water-based brush pens, alcohol-based markers, fine liners, pencils and ink. Okay, so this is specifically marker paper. We've got a little Tombow leaflet here as well, so it looks like the dual ABT markers. We did have the alcohol version in a recent scroller box. These black barreled ones are the water-based ones, so that may be what we have in our box. Tells you a little bit about Tombow on the back, and you also get 20% off. Now Tombow are really high quality products, although I'm not into markers. The standard of their items is very, very good indeed. So we'll crack open this paper and do a wee bit of testing in just a minute. I say 25 sheets, that's a lot, that's quite a big pad of paper. That's it, that's good money's worth right there. I love these little envelopes, they remind me of my childhood. Ooh, right. Oh, so right, here are the ABT markers. So I'm just going to dig all those out first. We've got 8 Tombow markers. These retail at something ridiculous like £3 each, like £3 per pen. They are rather pricey, but they're very nice. And the reason they're very nice, which I'm just about to show you, they are twin tip markers. And as I said, these ones are water based, and you have this lovely fine bullet tip, which is excellent if you want uniform lines or you want to block something in. It's absolutely perfect for that. You can get some really nice precise work with that end. If I show you the other end, this is probably one of the nicest brush tips on the market, I would say, besides the brush tips on a Copic sketch marker. These are really nice. They're not too soft, they're not too firm, they're just right there in the middle, and what that means is even if you're not adept with brush pens, they're easy to control. So I'm really glad that if they've gone down this marker route, they've picked decent markers. And I like these because they're a little bit smaller, and being water based as well means they are water soluble, so you can mess about with them a bit as well, which is something that I like to do because I like to play with art stuff. So let's have a look at the colours then. Oh, these ones don't have colour names on, it's just numbers. And there's more in the envelope, there's more. And we have a pencil. It's a pencil. It's a Tombow pencil, a Tombow Homograph Mono 100 HB pencil. Looks fairly sturdy. It's a pencil. We'll again, we'll have a little go at that. And they've also given us a little mono plastic eraser as well. I'm actually quite fond of these little plastic erasers. I really like the Statler ones as well. They're good because they're really mess free. That's why I like them. And you get them in diddly form, so if you're stuck for space and you're maybe, you know, wanting to take your sketchbook and stuff with you, it doesn't take up a lot of room. Now these I haven't seen before. Tombow Twin Tone. What is a twin tone when it's at home? But there's 5 of them in a selection of rather exciting colours, so let's have a wee look. Now this has also got a sort of bullet tip on it, not dissimilar to the ABTs. Oh, that's like a fine liner. It's a very fine liner, sort of. It's a very teeny weeny tip. Teeny weeny tip. So our line width variation is huge here, and we do have it in a selection of colours. There are no overlaps in the colours, which could be a help or a hindrance, depending on what way you look at it. But that's very interesting indeed. So we have a very colourful set of supplies. Wowee. Right, let's take a wee look at the magazine then. Oh wow, I'm dreading this. Right, this is what I'm talking about. This is a really comprehensive magazine, and they've done really well. Like it's evolved as these boxes have gone on, and it's become quite a honed piece of art in itself. So there's this little bit at the start that tells you about the whole Artful situation, what to expect in your boxes, etc, etc. And then we come on to the supplies. So let's see if we can learn more than we already know. The ABT dual brush pens, oh, there you go, they're saying the recommended retail price is £3.65 each. I'm pretty sure I've seen them online at about £3 each. Oh, they do tell you the colours: warm red, orange, carnation, lilac, sea blue, cool grey, cyan and black. And a fine tip for precise lines, borders, graphic stencils. They are available completely in 107 shades, and they can be mixed together because they're water based. Pretty much everything that I've just said, which is fine. The twin tone dual tip markers, so their recommended retail price is £1.75 each. Thicker thin lines with 2 tip choices: a bullet tip at 0.8mm or an extra fine tip at 0.3. And these ones come in 36 colours as well, so you've still got a really good range of colour choices there. The little mono eraser, soft consistency of plastic means that it's especially pleasant erasing with excellent results. PVC, phthalate and latex free. The HB pencil is recommended retail price of £2.40. I would not pay £2.40 for an HB pencil, but that's just me. Okay, founded originally as a pencil company, Tombow has the expertise when it comes to pencils. Available in 17 degrees of hardness. Good grief. This pencil offers unusual contrast due to extra dark high density graphite lead. The HB is ideal for everyday writing and sketching. HB grade unbreakable high density graphite lead with a hexagonal barrel. So that'll be quite interesting then. I will test this against a couple of other HB pencils that I've got just to see if it really is darker. And if it is darker, should it really be classed as an HB pencil? You guys can tell me what you think about that in the comments. And the Bristol drawing pad. Recommended retail price of £12.30. That's not that expensive actually. That's not expensive at all if it's good paper. High quality, bright white drawing paper, smooth surface, dry and liquid material, brush pens, fine liners, coloured pencils. Oh, coloured pencils. I wouldn't use coloured pencils on this paper, but okay. Indian ink. Eraser resistant. What does that mean? The paper is eraser resistant. Does that mean that you can use an eraser and it's not going to affect the paper? Or does it mean you're going to use an eraser and you're not going to be able to erase things? That's not very clear. It tells you about the Artful greetings cards as well. Recommended retail price of £4. Slight texture and craft envelopes. Yeah, I quite like the little greetings cards, they're nice. Okay, so they're telling you a brief history of typography and lettering and the different terminology for the lettering. Ooh, yeah, this is quite interesting though. Just showing you different fonts and that kind of thing. Rainbow calligraphy tutorial. Okay, so then now that we've looked at the contents of the box, this is how the box was made. It's so cute. I love this. This is so nice. Like this, I want to do this kind of stuff. I don't want to do calligraphy. I want to do this stuff, guys. So they're talking about how they've created each of these individual pieces and what they've used, so that's super nice. So this is Alice, and I'm assuming it's Alice that's created the artwork for the box. Doesn't actually tell you who's created the artwork for the box. Okay, it doesn't say who's done the box art, so it might not be this person. But anyway, so this is our first artist. Aha! Okay, so one of the first techniques they're looking at here is using the markers to make washes. So that's what I was saying about them being water soluble. So that's really good as well, the fact that we've got this as, you know, one of the aspects of it, which is really nice. So these tutorials, they're quite detailed, you know, they're a good couple of pages each. It's not like 1, 2, 3 steps and you're done. I don't know how to pronounce this lady's name, but I'm going to say Eliana. And she looks like a calligrapher. Oh, a calligrapher. Yeah, oh, look at her lettering. It's so pretty. I just don't have the patience for lettering. I have tried typography in the past and I wasn't very good at it because I wanted to freehand everything and it didn't end well. So I've got an interview there and then this lovely tutorial, which is just marvellous. Like, I really like this. The rainbow calligraphy. I'd be absolutely useless at it, but I just like to look at it. Like, I just like to. See, I tried this kind of thing before. It'll probably be in one of my bullet journals. If I can find it, I'll show you, but I don't even know where those journals are, to be honest. This takes so much patience. Like, people say to me all the time they don't understand why I've got the patience to draw in graphite and use coloured pencils. This to me is the same, like, that's the way I feel about this. It's torture because it's got to be very regimented or else it looks really weird. Like, you can have one angle slightly off and it ruins the look of the whole thing. It's really nice that they're giving you something like this as well to look at though, and you know, so that you can try it out yourself. That's so cool. I always think these look lovely, but I just don't have the patience for them. So we've got a lady called Sarah as well, and she likes all the colours clearly. What a nice space she's got. She's got a lot of markers. So that would be interesting to read. Modern calligraphy. Yeah, this kind of font here, you see, I'm going to zoom in a little bit so I can show you this. This font here, I feel as if this has been done to death. Like, I see it everywhere now and I actually can't stand it. People used it for a long time. It was really popular on wedding invitations and stuff, and I'm just like, it's not that easy to read. Can you pick something else, please? Oh, look, we've got proper guidelines, so you can actually do it in the book. How nice is that? Oh, so she's got a little step-by-step here for a thank you card as well. Again, using the supplies in the box. I love these colours together. Really nice. Ones to follow. So this section is like little snippets of people on Instagram. And I love these because this is what I do. The minute I see something I like, I'm like, yep, following you. This lady here, Amy Louise Condall, look at her artwork. Yes, this is right up my street, so I'll be going and checking her out. They're so cool. Fan in miniature, I've seen these before as well. These like tiny little sculptures that are no bigger than, like, you know, a couple of your fingers. So cool. Embellished letters. Now see, I can do embellished letters. I could do like one letter as long as I don't have to do a whole set of letters. I would try something like this. I would, if you would like to see me do something like this, let me know in the comments. Obviously, I always like to do some sort of project with the Artful box. I would be happy to tackle something like this rather than, you know, the old calligraphy and the lines and everything. So you can let me know in the comments how you feel about that if you want to delve into this. There's a little advert here for one of the charities. And there's a little feature about it as well, which is really nice as well. Creative lettering. So again, we're talking more about the actual technical aspect and the practicalities of which way you're supposed to go. One thing that gets me as well is you see a lot of these instructions and a lot of videos and books on calligraphy, and they show you like the stroke and the direction you're supposed to go in. I've always kind of struggled with this because I'm left-handed. I automatically want to go the opposite way. When I used to do a bit more lettering and things, you know, when I did a lot of journaling, there was quite often I would actually write the word backwards and I would start at the end and work my way back. I would love to know if any other left-handed people find that easy as well. The advantage of that too is not only is the pen, you know, you're keeping the pen going in the direction that's away, like furthest away from your hand. The same way if I'm drawing or colouring, I usually start on the top right of the paper. It's the same thing when you're writing. Whereas if you're going this way, you're pushing against the grain all the time, and not only that, your hand ends up in it. If you're using ink that's particularly wet, you smudge it. I would love to know if anybody else has done that in the past, just out of curiosity. Wow, this is like a lot of lessons. Like, see, to me, none of this just doesn't look fun at all. I am impressed with the amount of depth that they've gone into here though. you know, because it is a very, very technical art form, and all the help you can get with it, the better. And they've really, really dug down into this. So that is quite impressive. So we've got another featured artist here. These are so cute. Sleeping Vamp, love it. Ah, so cool. Okay, I want to do this one. There's an illustrator I really like, and I can't remember her name. It's not this lady, but she's a very, very similar style. Yeah! If I was going to do a tutorial out of this book, it would be this one, because it's animals and it's not lettering. So nice. So you can see there she's using a paintbrush to fade out the colour as well. There you go. So if you feel your drawing skills aren't up to standard, then they have provided a template for you as well. This magazine, it really does encompass something for everyone. That's lovely. It's really nice. I'm always a person that says art should be accessible to everyone. Because I have a hand injury that makes my motor skill very unpredictable, and unfortunately it's my dominant hand, things like this and the lino kit as well was really, really hard work for me. And one of the reasons I shy away from lettering is because this hand is so unpredictable. So I personally really appreciate the fact that they have taken, you know, annoyingly awkward people like me into consideration and put something like this in. If I was a novice artist and I'd paid £35 for this box, which I did by the way, I would be so grateful to have this in here, not being someone who wants to sit and do lettering. So bravo Artful, that's excellent. I am impressed. They are re-releasing the old boxes. There's a lot of demand for previous editions, so we've re-released the lino and the ink boxes. We're also releasing a lino upgrade box. It's funny, I was just talking about that. Yeah, the lino printing box was really popular. Okay, we've got Alec. Hello Alec, what do you do? Typography and graphic design at its finest. Get ready to swoon. Ooh, yeah, that's cool. Maybe not swooning, but it's cool. Florence Blanchard. Oh, that's cool. That's very cool. Oh, look, it looks so cool from top down. Ah. Delicious desk spaces. Yes, these are all very nice. I love looking at this because everyone's spaces are always really bright and airy and all very sort of, you know, stylish and coordinated. I spend like 16 hours a day in my office sometimes, and I live in a big old drafty farmhouse and all the rooms are big and dark and dingy. So I can just live vicariously through these. And the film section's still here. I'm never ever going to be happy about this. Yeah, okay. The exciting new wave of female filmmakers. Okay, if you're into that sort of thing, that's fine. I always like this back page as well. This makes me really happy because it's just lots of little artworks all together. The Daily Drawing Challenge, that's something they run on Instagram. If you're ever stumped for something to draw, you can just head over to their Instagram and they have a prompt every day and you can draw something. So it's really good. I am very impressed with the magazine this month, and what's tipped it for me is this inclusion of that little fox tutorial. That's just, it's so very considerate. So I am impressed. When it comes to the art supplies, I've used, as I say, I've used these ABT markers before on several occasions, many occasions. In terms of monetary value, you're absolutely 100% and some getting your money's worth with these items. I personally wouldn't choose to spend £35 on markers, but again, that's just me for preference. There's no reflection on the box itself. So let's do some tests now. I'm just going to crack open this paper. As my grandmother would say, we'll have a wee fart about with the supplies. I'm quite interested to test this paper out, actually. I'm kind of excited about that, but I do have a bit of a thing about paper to do here. Right, when they say smooth, how smooth are we talking? Oh, wow. Jeez, okay, it's really smooth. I would almost print art prints on that, do you know that? That's so I can't stop touching it, it's so smooth. Right, okay, enough. Right, I'm just going to grab another HB pencil or two. Right, okay, so here I have a selection of HB pencils here, and it's just really to test out what they were saying about this extra dark lead, because to me if it's extra dark then it really shouldn't be marked as an HB pencil, that might just be me. So this is a Faber-Castell Goldfaber, so this is not technically an artist grade pencil, but they're still nice pencils. Okay, now obviously we're not going to get to layer much on this paper because it's smooth as a baby's backside. It's not really designed for this kind of thing, but this is just to show you and see if there is actually much of a difference. This is a Staedtler HB, or a number 2 pencil if you live in the States and you pay attention to that kind of thing. So you can see here the values that I'm getting, they're quite similar so far. There's not a huge amount of difference in them. You will always find variation between brands, that goes without saying, and that's just the life, I'm afraid. Here's a Derwent Graphic HB. These are pencils that I use a lot. I tend to jump between these and the Faber-Castell 9000, and I would say that these are probably slightly higher quality than the previous two. It's not sitting any better on the paper, and the value's slightly darker. If you just look at this top side here, you can see it's slightly darker, but there's not much in it at all. Okay, so let's try the Tombow then and see what the... Oh, look at that. It's a lot darker, and it feels soft. It doesn't really feel like an HB pencil to me, I'll be honest. It feels more like a 2B, and I know my graphite pencils. Trust me to get fixated on the freaking pencil. I had a 2B a minute ago, what have I done with it? Here's a 2B. You can see this is much closer to this. So there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that this is a problem. It's just interesting that they have this as an HB pencil. And I don't know whether it's to do with the ratio of the components that make up the pencil. I don't know whether that is the gauge that they use for the grading of the pencil, or whether they've just decided that because this is the middle of, you know, the middle of the range that they have specifically why it's an... I don't know the answer to that. I'm just surmising here and giving you guys something to think about as well. But this to me is more like a 2B pencil, which is absolutely fine because I use 2B pencils all the time, and this will be going in my 2B pencil pot, not in the HB pot. Let's crack on with these markers. I'd like to try these twin tone markers because I've never used them before, and I'm not going to lie, I'm a wee bit excited about them. So let's test out the colours. These do have colour names on them somewhere. I saw it a minute ago. Where is it? I'm sure I saw names on these. Oh, that's because this one's got a sticker on it. That's why this one doesn't have a sticker on it. Okay, so I've got fuchsia pink, oh goodness me, chrome yellow, sky blue, yellow green, and utmost professionalism here. Violet. Okay, violet. So we'll start with the violet, and I want to start with the fine liner part. So that's nice. I just want to do the quick smudge test. Okay, tiny bit of smudge, but that is soaking into the paper really quickly. So that is really good news for someone like me, being a lefty, less chance of the smudgy. These nibs are really nice, and it kind of makes me want to start like drawing things with them. Like normally I just draw little boxes, don't I, or little funny lines and then start scribbling away with them. But this is actually making me want to do something. I feel like a little flower coming on here or something. Goodness me. I do like a teeny tiny tip, so a 0.3mm nib, that's you know, that's like right in my ballpark. Yeah, oh, I like these pens. I especially like those tiny nibs. And let's see what this other nib looks like. Oh, look how nice that colour is. That is juicy. Now again, imagine this will smudge. Yeah. Okay, so you need to give that a little bit of drying time. Again, not an issue. You could actually get some really nice effects with that. See if I just do this and then quick. Yeah, well, that might be quite interesting. You do end up with a dirty finger though. But that violet colour is absolutely fabulous. Right, let's try another one. Yellow. And the ink flow is lovely as well. I write quite quickly, and it seems to be able to keep up with that and my hatching as well. And it's not skipping, it's not leaving blobs anywhere. Yeah, I am liking this a lot. So let's see it in more of the, I'll call this the felt tip end. Now that didn't take much. I went over that twice there, and the paper looks as if it's starting to complain. So let's just do a little scrub test, shall we? Oh, look at that. Okay, over the area more than twice and you're going to tear up the paper. It's actually come off on the nib of the pen as well. Nice. You see that? You can see where those two dark lines are. That's where it started to pill the paper. Okay, so this paper isn't as resilient as I would have hoped. We will take a more delicate approach with layering up these ABT markers and see how it copes with ink load as well. If you are heavy-handed, you're going to have to go steady with this paper. Fuchsia. Yeah, I mean, I said this back at the start, but Tombow products are generally very, very good quality, and this is just backing it up for me. I don't get excited about pens and inks generally, but these are nice. These are very, very nice indeed. That's a really nice shade of yellow as well. I like that. Yeah. And sky blue. Okay, Even the felt tip side isn't taking long to dry on the paper, which is great news as well. It means you can trot on any pace you want and you're not going to have to watch where you're putting your hand. I misspelled that there because I was saying the word hand. Love it when that happens. It's like trying to sing a song while there's another song on the radio. It's really difficult. Okay, let's move on to these ABT markers. So I'm going to start with this dark blue, well, the blue colour, because it's going to be nice and easy for you to see. So we've got this this bullet tip, which you can't get much line variation with it. You can get a little bit, but not much. But as I was saying, you can, you know, if you're looking for uniformity, then it's going to give you a nice straight edge and you can, you know, you can rely on it. Whereas if you're trying to draw uniform areas with a brush tip, it's not always the easiest thing to do, especially if you're not particularly well versed with them. But again, you can be really expressive with these. They're going to keep up with you. They're not a problem at all. And here's my favourite part. You're going to love this. You can go as quick as you like as well. Absolutely lovely. Absolutely freaking love these markers just because of the brush tip. This is one of my little Kuretake water brushes that I've had forever. When I say forever, like 5 years, and it's still going, it still works. So while we're going along here testing some of these other colours, we're just going to see how this behaves on this paper. So if we pop down, that is a really offensive colour. If I grab that while it's still wet, you can see that it's going to go and go and go, and it's going to spread out and spread out and spread out. I can pull it down there beautifully. The paper isn't all that happy about this, but I am kind of scrubbing a wee bit. But see, if you're just stroking across quite gently, the paper's coping with that, no problem. If you start scrubbing back and forth, that's when you're going to have issues. That's a really, really bright colour. I wasn't expecting it to. It's almost like a coral shade. So you can see they are very water soluble, you know, and you can go a fair bit with them. On this paper though, it's not something I would be jumping at doing. I would use them on a hot press watercolour paper. Hot press paper would be better for these because these brush tips, much as they're flexible and all the rest of it, they're actually quite delicate, and over time the tip begins to fray at the ends. So in order to protect them, you want to stick to smoother papers. So if you are going to use watercolour paper, hot press paper would be much better because it'll extend the life of the tip of your pen. Right, let's have a little look at this one. Not quite as offensive. Okay, so with this one, I'm going to let it dry and I'm going to see how many layers it will take before it starts to pill the paper. Got quite a neutral grey here. That is such a lovely shade of grey. That's perfect. See, for layering over the top of other colours, see if you want to put shadows in your drawings and stuff, this grey is perfect. It's neutral grey 75. So let's just try that with this colour here. Why not? Look at this colour too. Yes. So if we do that, and then we grab this. Oh, it didn't like that at all. Look at the paper. Oh no. Okay, it really doesn't like layering these on top of each other when they're wet. Now you know. Okay, I'll let this other side dry first. This side. I'll let this dry. And then we'll go back over it with the grey. Yep, that's pretty dry. So let's go again. So this is being delicate, but still wanting to add more layers. Keeping my strokes in the same direction, making sure I've got even coverage though. Oh, so delicate. I love these desaturated colours. Like, this is my favourite thing. I'm really not enjoying the way that this is soaking into this paper. Oh boy, and it's Tombow paper. Right, that seems dry enough as well. So there's another interesting point to note as well. There was only a brief stop between me doing this part here and this part there, and that tiny part that's overlapped is really, really obvious. So if you're going to use these for illustration, kind of like you would with watercolour, you want to work, if you're working in a certain colour, you want to work the whole section at once so that it dries evenly and you don't end up with streaks. Right, okay, so if I just put this down on top of that, I'm going to bring it over the overlap so that you can see what I'm talking about, and obviously the black as well. When I'm using markers like this, which isn't very often, I like to use, if they've got this kind of like bullet tip, I quite like to use this to outline my illustrations, because it really makes it pop out, especially see if you've got a really busy background. That's the perfect antidote to that, is to either in white or black, depending on your colour scheme. But these pens in particular are really good for outlining if you want that thicker border, you know, rather than just a standard fine liner. So you can see the quality of these, and they're really nice pens. I'm slightly sceptical about the paper. I don't think the paper's going to take much abuse, to be perfectly honest. Even me running my hand over there, I can feel all the bobbly parts. So where I've gone back over with the grey, you can see this light stripe in the middle was the original pen, and I've taken that grey right over. So you see what I mean about being able to use this neutral grey for shadows is brilliant for that. I wouldn't like to put much more marker on top of that, if I'm honest. Just for the simple fact that I think the paper might cry. It's given that horrible grainy appearance as well, like really grainy texture. I don't know how well you can see that, but it looks awful. Like it really does. It doesn't look nice at all. So that's quite interesting. We're okay here on our orange. This is where we've been going gently. So that's me up to 3 layers now. Give it a waft. Right, we need to test out this eraser resistantness, because I'm puzzled by this. So I'm just going to crack open this little mono. It's so cute. Weirdly, I acquired a Statler plastic eraser today as well. So I've got like 2 little dinky erasers. I've got to watch Mr. Jem because he steals these. He likes them too, and they keep mysteriously going missing from the cave. The good thing about this is they've got this little cardboard cover on them, so it stops you getting manky fingers. Right, so I've got all this graphite over here. Look at that. That's just like cutting through that like butter. Okay, I think when they said eraser resistant paper, as suspected, they meant it's not going to hurt the surface of the paper. So just to really test that out, I'm just going to cut through this really dark graphite here. Now, it's not lifting the darkest parts of the graphite completely, but I would expect that on paper like this. But you can see it's made a really good dent in it. So what I'm going to do is just grab one of these ABT markers and use it on the section where I've erased. And it really hasn't affected the integrity of the paper at all. And you can, that's something you can feel under your hand when you're actually using the pen or the pencil on the paper. If the paper's damaged underneath, you can feel it almost like rattling through the implement that you're using. So absolutely 100%. So if you are going to be doing a lot of under sketching, you know, in graphite or whatever, I would suggest it's a good idea to stick to one of these plastic erasers, even if it's not the mono one, you know, if you've got another one that's a favourite. Overall then, just having a little think now, I've had a little bit of time to digest, because obviously I've opened this box blind. My thoughts on the box itself, I like the balance between the fact that they've given you these fine liners and they've given you these markers as well. We never tested these to see if they were water soluble, did we? Let's just do that right now. That's just popped into my head. I don't know how quickly we'll be able to... Oh, wow, they're really soluble. Look. Wow. Awesome. So you could actually mix them with everything else. Yeah, okay. I'm trying to put the lid from the fine liner on my water brush. That's not very good, Jem. Ever the consummate professional? Yeah, so I'm glad that they've given us the ABTs and also these twin tone markers, because that gives you a really nice variety, not only just for yourself to try stuff out, but also for technique as well. Not everybody functions the same way if they are doing calligraphy or typography or illustration, and it's nice to have this much choice. I'm not particularly excited about the whole lettering thing, as I've said. I'm glad that they've provided high quality items though. My criticism is that for the last couple of boxes that Artful have brought out, they've all been ink centred. Last time we had the acrylic inks, and the time before that was lino printing, which is obviously ink as well. It would be really nice to see them steer away from that completely in the next box, because ink's great, and ink comes in so many formats, and so, you know, there's so many different ways you can use it, and it's one of the reasons I think that they've probably used those items, because they're quite versatile. But I'm just getting pretty bored of it, to be honest. I am willing to give this a go. I'm not convinced that I would want to do it on this paper. I think maybe for calligraphy, when you are only using, you know, you're going to be using like one continuous stroke, And when I say that, I mean you're not going to be going back over everything that you've done. I think it would be okay for that. The structure of the paper itself doesn't hold up well to blending. It's okay with a little bit of water, that's not buckled or anything, but you can feel it's compromised the texture of the paper, which is supposed to be super smooth. When you've only gone over with one stroke, it feels absolutely fine. The integrity of the paper has not been compromised. So I think you're very limited on use with this. Never in a month of Sundays would I use colour pencil on that. Even this graphite, you know, you're talking about smooth paper there. You wouldn't do a graphite drawing on that either. Look, I mean, it's not built for that. And for them to put that in the front, I think is pretty cheeky, to be perfectly honest. Obviously, this has come as a package from Tombow, so it makes sense. But yes, definitely for calligraphy. For other stuff, I would be like, yeah, I'd rather use Molten paper, thanks very much. In saying that, though, I still think it's lovely paper. And I really want to do, like, I want to do a Copic design on it. Let's go and grab an alcohol marker and see what happens, just for fun, you know. Okay, I've got here a Copic sketch marker. It's just the first one that came to hand, and it's been out because I've been using it. And that is YG67, which is moss. It's one of my favourite ones. I use it all the time. Let's try the brush tip. Yeah, I just want to see if there's any bleed through or anything. I know this is a bit kind of off topic. And that paper is taking that like a freaking boss. That's what I'm talking about. Very, there's a wee bit of ghosting on the back here, like a tiny wee bit, and it's where I've changed direction at the end of my stroke, but that is not soaking through, which is excellent. Needless to say, it's dealing okay with the layering situation as well, and that's back to what we were talking about over here. If you're taking your time and you're not being too heavy-handed, you'll get on great. Just don't go scrubbing away at it or you'll end up in this situation down here. So yeah, you have to have quite a gentle hand with this paper, and that's drying really quickly. The only concern I have about the paper soaking up these, you know, all of these pens, because they've all dried quickly, your ability to blend becomes much harder. And I'm talking about blending, you know, colour to colour as opposed to blending with water. Ideally, if you're blending with ink, you want to have a little fraction of time where the ink almost sits on top of the paper, and that then allows you to mix it in with the next colour, and it just meshes together a lot better. So that, again, that's kind of like a concern with this. But that, I mean, I can keep going here and I'm going to get a really nice flat colour, which is amazing. So yeah, that is my thoughts on the box. I would love to know your thoughts on the box, whether you like it, whether you hate it. I don't hate it as much as I was expecting to hate it, but I was expecting a marker box. It was going to happen at some point, but that's absolutely a-okay. I'm glad it's these and not, you know, not any other brand. I'm getting so bitter in my old age. Yeah, okay. If you would like to see me try either the illustration that's in the magazine or just do something of my own, but something that's similar, oh goodness me, then I would be absolutely happy to do so without a shadow of a doubt. And I will stretch as far as an illuminated letter. You're not going to get any typography or calligraphy out of me. I like myself too much for that. So if we just take a quick wrap up here, we've got the paper, we've got the 8 Tombow ABT markers, but we've also got the 5 twin tone markers as well. We've got one of these cute little mono erasers, and this slightly darker than HB pencil. So let's do a quick bit of adding up, just to see what and now I know I'm under no illusions here. The recommended retail price is the jacked up price. Nobody actually pays that for them, but it's still a good ballpark. So even I said the ABT brushes you can pick up for about £3. So say, right, let's call it 3 for. In fact, I'm gonna have to look up these twin tone markers because I've never seen them before. Just while I was browsing for these twin tone markers, someone is selling the ABT ones for £2.55 each. So there's a huge difference between £2.55 and £3.65. That is in the UK. These twin tone markers, someone's got them here at £3.75 each, and they're saying £1.75 each. So that's interesting as well. We're all the wrong way around here. Again, the mono erasers buttons, like you can buy them way cheaper than £1.40. And say £2.40 for the pencil as well. In terms of what's going on, you are getting your money's worth. Even your Tombow pens, if you're going to buy them at £2.65 each, which I think is probably the cheapest I've seen them, that in itself still 21 quid's worth there, just in that handful of pens. When you take into account this paper at £12.50, I rescind my previous statement about it's like the paper being cheap. as in the cost versus what it's supposed to do. I think it's actually perfectly priced for the performance that it's given me, just based on what we've done there. So there you are, like that's you're up to 32 quid, and that's before you've included any of your twin tone pens. And the fact that there are multiple tutorials in this magazine, and they're really, really in-depth, especially this one here about, you know, that this whole section in creative lettering is so in-depth. So for me, the box is definitely, like, you've definitely got your money's worth out it, there's no doubt about it. This is going to suit some people more than others. As someone who has been unboxing art boxes for 3 years now, these don't hold much excitement for me. I've had them multiple times now. I know how good quality they are, but I know that I won't use them as well. So I'll probably put these into the stash shop. I'm going to keep these because I really like the fine liners on them, and I would actually quite like to do just a few little sketches in my sketchbook with these. I think that would be really, really good fun, because coloured fine liners is something that I hardly ever use, but these are particularly teeny tiny, which floats my boat. So that we could do a cool, maybe do a video on that, on some colourful sketches or something like that. Anyway, you can let me know in the comments, guys. That would be absolutely grand. Okay, so that's it for today, guys. I want to thank you very much for watching if you've stuck it this far. I will be announcing the giveaway winners from the Cave's 3rd birthday in a bonus video on Tuesday, so you can stay tuned for that on Tuesday, and we shall be back on Thursday with our regular video. So have a good day, everyone. Stay safe. Bye for now.